Well, good afternoon to all of you racing fans, and welcome to our live stream. And I hope that that you're getting the sound loud and clear, because we will be talking to Gavin Van Zyl about the Polytrack debacle. We'll just get to see what happens as far as that is concerned. But I've sent him a message. Let me just check on his message that I have sent to Gavin. That has got through. Yeah, he's got the two ticks, so it's gone through to him, and he will call me in 5 minutes. So let's talk about a bit of the news that's going on, and we'll be talking to Gavin about the Polytrack and that. But let's first of all talk about American news. Into Mischief champion sire designate in America, sire of Authentic, who won the Kentucky Derby. He's standing for $225,000. He's at 267 mares, and he stands at Spendthrift. Justify and Standard Coolmore, and have had 252 mares. So it's quite amazing how many mares they're getting. The foal crop is down in America 3.4%, which is a huge amount, and it's down to 20,500 expected. So year on year, the foal crops kept coming down, and that's very, very worrying. So let's talk about the Arc de Triomphe, which was won by Scott Sauce, trained by, as our man, Alain de Preroya, who's a fantastic trainer. Peter Brandt owned him from White Birch. And Peter Brandt is a very big polo player, loves polo, got a huge polo farm in Argentina. And he sold 50% of Scott Sauce during the year to Coolmore. And Scott Sauce is going to stand at Coolmore. He's by Sione, and he's a really, really well-bred horse and a top racehorse. He lowered the colors of Persian King in a mile, so that shows that he's got some real ability. We've had big sales going on, and obviously there've been Tattersalls and 3.4 million for Galileo. MV Magna bought it. Turnover down 5%, which is amazing. It's only down 5%. And Qatar with underbidders. Newsel's bred it, and Andreas Jacobs, as you know, is involved in Newsel's, and it really has been a pretty good sell with only a 3% downturn on day one, with an average of 263,000 guineas. A Galileo filly also sold to MV Magna from Barenstein Stud. Now, you know Barenstein Stud is our friends David and Deanne Nagel. They paid $775,000 for the mare, or guineas for the mare, in 2017. And they got a lot of money for the first foal that they sold. So well done to them, and they are great friends of South African racing. Going back to the Arc, Gain feed all the O'Brien team's horses. That's Joseph and all of them, and Adrian O'Brien. And they all had to be scratched out the Arc because they came back positive for zylfentanyl, which is a synthetic beta agonist, which I'm not sure what that all means, but it certainly is supposed to produce a little more muscle, and it's banned in Europe, funnily enough, so it shouldn't have been there. Good afternoon, Black. How are you, buddy? Nice to have you on the team, Black Swan. So that was a huge dampener, but when it came to the Arc, obviously Enable getting beaten was really, really disappointing. You know, we all hoped that she'd win the Arc. It's rumored that she might go for the Breeders' Cup turf for the fillies and mares. One of the two on turf, I would have thought, would be the only way she'll go. But that's rumor. So hopefully, Danny, nice to have you on there. Not great 3-year-olds coming out now. So these great 3-year-olds coming out. Yeah, there's some pretty good 3-year-olds coming out here in South Africa, and as you see, these guys are stepping them out. You know, Cornish Pomodoro came out and won pretty easily. As I said on my preview, I was pretty disappointed in Sean's preview anti-post discussion, where he said, well, the horse may need the run, and the horse won like he needed nothing. He absolutely toddled him. Nice to see, because he's obviously a very, very good horse. And there is going to be some great racing. The latest, we're obviously waiting to hear about the selling off of assets from the business rescue practitioner. As you know, last week or 2 weeks ago, last time I was on the show, I produced all these figures from the pick six carryovers, and suddenly there had been a spate of pick sixes. So maybe they got the picture, and maybe that will pick up. Shadwell Mile, this was very interesting, was won by a Brazilian bred called Ivar. Grade 1 turf is where he's going for. Breeders' Cup, Joe Talama, and Paulo Lobo trained to be 3 from 3 in Argentina. This horse, he's obviously a pretty good horse because he won a Group 1 in America, the Shadwell Mile. And his name's Ivar. Keep a good eye on him. He's pretty damn good. And obviously, he raced in Argentina, was bred in Brazil. Let's see what else is. Barney Roy. Now, this is a Godolphin horse, and he's going to go to Bahrain for their big Bahrain International Trophy, which is on the 20th of November. What's interesting is when you look at Bahrain and what horses are coming, there's horses from all over the world. So it's business as usual. You know, Sweden is sending, they've got horses into Germany, Italy. There's horses everywhere being entered. And the Appleby Yard Godolphin sent out a press release saying that Barney Roy is already in Dubai. So horses are traveling everywhere. You see Aidan O'Brien traveling them to France, to Germany, to Italy. They're traveling everywhere. And they're able to go. We're in this little time capsule, stuck in South Africa, not knowing what to do, where to go, how to go about it. That's really awful. Getting back to the Arc de Triomphe, it was very interesting to see this horse Scottos win, because he looked very big value if enabled fluff to lines at 9-1. You know, he really did look like he obviously had some ability. And I'm going to actually ring Gavin Van Zyl and see if he's going to answer the call, because we need to have him on the air. But if we're going to talk about this whole business as far as the Polytrack is concerned. So let me lead you into it a little bit and chat about it so that we can get some idea of what we're chatting about. The Polytrack was built as an all-weather track. That was the first thing. The second thing, it was built on the inside of Greyville, which a lot of us were very unhappy about. We believed it should go to Scottsville, and probably in hindsight, that would have been the better option, and leave Greyville as a proper track. Unfortunately, the powers that be at that time, and this is the problem, the people that were involved in those days who are totally not involved in KwaZulu-Natal or Gold Circle racing at all anymore. Anyway, they decided and deemed that they're going to build a 12-horse field Polytrack on the inside of Greyville. I would have preferred, we know that turnovers improve with the amount of runners you have. The more runners you have, the more turnover you get. And as you've seen with Polytrack racing, there's 2 or 3 reserves every single race, virtually, certainly when they put on the program the right races. So you just see that that's what happens with the Polytrack racing. Anyway, they don't have enough runners. They have 12 optimum, that's maximum, and it just looks like a sort of makeshift track stuck on the inside of the grass track, and it behaves like that too. It's not conducive to good form results, because sometimes the track runs from the front and from the front only, and sometimes it runs from off the pace and the front runners have got no chance. Now, us as punters don't have any idea when that's going to be or when that's not going to be, because basically we hope that when it's firmed up a bit, you think that the horses are going to run from the front and the inside door is going to be an advantage. And then they had the scenario where there was a golden highway down the outside of the track. I saw them ripping the track up a couple of weeks ago, and obviously that was done to try and negate the positive factor by being on the outside of the racetrack. So then we come to the weekend. Now, there was a lot of rain, admittedly, but it was not storms or thunderstorms or really, really bad weather. Black Swan, just to reply, no Polytrack plan for Turpentine or Kenilworth. I don't think you'll ever see a Polytrack at either of those places. Racing's in enough trouble to be. It doesn't have the money or the funds to be able to, run it as a Polytrack in either of those places. So we've got it in Durban, And just getting back to the factor that really worries me about it, the inconsistency of form results. And that means that the conditions are changing, the track conditions are changing. So you come to Sunday, you would expect, firstly, that they make a nice early announcement. Don't get us all to the races. And I went and sit around. First race delayed because there's a jockeys protest because they haven't even run the first race. Then delayed the second race and eventually cancelled. So then there's a bit of rain on Sunday night, but not that much. And certainly enough for the polytrack to be able to handle, because I've been in touch with Peter Morrison on a number of occasions. He's been on the show, and he says that this track should be able to handle 4 inches of rain in a downpour, which it patently doesn't handle. So what are the problems? Well, if you go back in history, the first problem that we had was the pull-up area. So the pull-up area was too short and joined onto the grass track, and there was obviously drainage problems with the grass track and the pull-up area, and the jockeys didn't want to ride through a pull-up, which they said was unsafe. So racing got cancelled on a number of occasions because of that. Well, that got changed because they lengthened the whole pull-up area, and that doesn't seem to be a problem now. But what is a problem is that it seems to be at the 600 and at the 400 meter mark, there is basically not much drainage, or the drainage doesn't work, or it floods, or I really cannot ascertain what the problem is. And the relevant authorities don't seem to be able to enlighten you. And that's why I was hoping to get Gavin Van Zyl on here to enlighten us as to what's going on and where we're going. You know, Gavin's usually very reliable. I'm surprised he hasn't phoned, and I'm surprised he hasn't seen my message. I'm going to phone him on my what's the name call and see if we can get him on that, you know, see if I can get him on loudspeaker on the normal telephone, because it's very important that we talk to him and see what happens. You know, he's going to come on now. We'll see. We're phoning him and see what the story is and ask if he's able to talk. So, but he said that he would come on and chat to us about what was going on. So the line's busy, so obviously he's busy, and I need to send him a message to say that he must call me, please, because otherwise it's pointless us carrying on with this. Let's see. Okay, I've sent him a message. I can do nothing. If the line's busy, who knows what he's doing on the phone? You know what trainers are like? They have people phoning them and giving them aggravation all the time, but maybe 2 or 3 o'clock should have been a time that he didn't have people calling him. Anyway, what I'm going to say from here is that, so the jockeys then went and protested, and they ended up getting the meeting cancelled on Sunday. By Monday, with the chance of more rain, and it actually cleared up, we were able to play golf on Monday afternoon, but with the more rain and that type of thing, we ended up cancelling the meeting for Monday as well. So how big a success has this polytrack been? Well, in terms of cost, return on investment, ROI, which is vitally important. If you're ever going to do a business plan and you want to be able to sell it, you've got to have a decent ROI. There's no return on investment as far as this is concerned. We definitely have had meetings move from the grass to the poly, which has certainly helped as far as those things are concerned. But you know, nothing really has shown that this cutting up of gravel and putting a polytrack on the inside has been a wow factor winning for racing advantage and improvement. I do believe polytrack racing has a place, and I really think that it does give all types of opportunities to all types of horses. But you've got to have a fair and consistent track, and you've got to have a track that runs to form. I watch Lingfield Poly, Kempton Poly, they've both got the poly track in there, or synthetic surfaces in there. And the form works out amazingly. The horses actually run to form. here the polytrack is the form is horrific. And if you go back in history and have a look at the amount of results and pick six carryovers and carryovers here, there, and everywhere, you will see that it's extremely difficult to do previews on the polytrack. And certainly it's extremely difficult to be able to justify the amount of spend that the polytrack has taken and the ongoing costs in keeping it up. And that's a factor too, because the polytrack does take maintenance. And if you maintain it properly, as Peter Morrison has said, it should be maintained. It really would last a good 7 years, and certainly with the conditions that we have in KwaZulu-Natal, which are no extremes of anything. It gets hot in the summer, but no extremes of heat. It's not like India or Pakistan or some of those places, Korea, where they race on these surfaces and they race through monsoons. That was another reason why we wanted to have Gavin Van Zyl on the show, because it would have been interesting chatting to him about his experiences. I think he raced in Macau, where he learned very quickly that, he should not worry about conditions, because horses gallop in racing conditions. There's some interesting stuff going around on YouTube at the moment, showing horses racing through all types of terrible conditions. Anyway, I'm not going to continue with this. And, I give a man one chance to come on the show, and that's it. And unfortunately, he should have been on the show 10 minutes ago. So he hasn't been here. And it therefore makes it very difficult to carry on just chatting to all of you guys out there. And you'll obviously, get the gist of what's going on. But he did say to me that he had spoken to Warren Kennedy and Anton Marcus, and that he had some feedback from them. But if he's not coming on live, well, that's it. So, guys, thank you so much for your involvement. Thank you for joining me. And unfortunately, guest doesn't arrive. There's nothing much I can do about it. I basically told you all the news that you need to know. As usual, we're waiting. We're waiting for the business practitioner. We're waiting to sell off the assets. We're waiting to see what happens. We're waiting to be able to export horses, waiting for everything. This business is about waiting. You've got to have a lot of patience. From me, James Goodman, I've had enough patience. I'm not waiting any longer. Have a great weekend, and join me tomorrow morning for my preview of Turfentine, and Sunday for Greybull. And please share and subscribe. We need the subscribers. Have a great one. I just cut myself off. What's going on? Are you able to talk? Hello?